safety net.
Welcome back to our program about employment. We've already talked about the kind of attitude you need to look for a job. Now we're going to talk about the kind of attitude you need to keep a job and get promoted. But just in case you're curious about some real-life jobs, let's first take a look at a few of the formerly incarcerated young people in this program and some of the first jobs they found after release. Jonathan Christian is the lead mechanic at Olson Car Care and received his basic automotive training while incarcerated. Jonathan is responsible for opening the store and getting everything set up and ready to go when it opens. His boss, Brian Lehman, is the store manager and has been very happy with Jonathan's work and promoted him to lead mechanic after he showed initiative and responsibility. Mr. Lehman says that being open to hiring people who have been incarcerated is very common in the automotive industry. Rigel Rivera is an assembly inspector at Mile Marker Incorporated, which makes powerful winches for military and industrial vehicles. Rigel started on the assembly line and worked her way up to assembly inspector, which is crucial for quality and safety. Her boss, Thomas Gonzalez, who is the quality assurance manager, says that one of the first things that impressed him about Rigel was that she volunteered to help rewrite instructions so that new employees could learn to do their jobs correctly. Tree Reeves works as an inserter at the Tallahassee Democrat, a local newspaper. Tree started out with no skills and did basic labor, but became trained and certified to handle a variety of responsibilities, including moving these giant rolls of newsprint from the storage area to the press room. He also helps his boss, Marilyn Lawhon, who is the packaging and distribution manager, with coordinating the final insertions and assembly of the finished newspaper. Ms. Lawhon says that Tree's willingness to be flexible with his schedule and to learn a variety of skills has made him a very valuable employee. Victoria Martin works as a printer at Creative Products, a large printing company. Terry Ely, who is the general manager and Victoria's boss, says that she quickly rose from sweeping the floors to being one of the company's most skilled 4-color process printers. Even though there was no training program to be a printer, Victoria was determined to learn as much as she could from the very first day. At first, some of her co-workers were not sure she could handle the responsibility, but she did not give up and found people who were willing to help train her while she worked, which really paid off for her and the people she worked for. Shalisha Walker is a job counselor for Positive Images, a fascinating group of nonprofit organizations that help people in need with a wide variety of services, including providing the right clothes to wear on a job. Shalisha's boss is Georgia Foster, the executive director of Positive Images, and as a person who has to supervise many locations and services, she needs people that can work independently. She relies on Shalisha to help counsel people about how to prepare for job interviews and find job training. Eric Schroeder is a cashier at Avamina Amico, an extremely busy convenience store and gas station. Nadara Stefanos is the owner of the business and has been extremely happy with Eric's work. Mr. Astefanos says that Eric taught him that hiring young people who have been incarcerated was no problem. He has learned that he can trust Eric with handling the store's money and being a responsible employee. Eric also designs his church's webpage and is looking into having his own business doing webpage design. Noel Reyes has just started as an installer with Screen Builders Incorporated, a business that designs, creates, and installs large screen enclosures. Noel's responsibilities include helping his foreman go over the work orders for the day, loading the truck, and making sure that they have all the materials they need. Then they go out and install these custom structures, often in people's homes, which means the crew has to be very trustworthy. The general manager of Screen Builders Incorporated is Gerald Tracy and Noel's boss. Mr. Tracy says that even though Noel is new to the job, he has quickly shown responsibility and initiative, which is exactly what he needs in his employees. I hope that gave you a bit of an idea about what some people's first jobs are like. Now let's cover some key points about your work attitude, which a lot of people call your work ethic. The first one is this: you leave your personal life outside and act like a professional when you come to work. That also means showing up on time, being dressed neatly, being dependable, all the basic things everybody wants in an employee.
The best thing to have a job is to remember it is a job, that you have to act professionally no matter what your title is cashier or you're the teacher or whatever. Your job is to be a professional. In other words, leave your personal stuff at home, your gossiping, all of that stuff, don't bring it with you. A lot of people don't really realize that.
My personal work ethic is I'm a hard worker, trustworthy, respectful, do what I got to do, obey the rules, follow instructions, pretty much what I got to do to keep a job and maintain it.
I'm a cashier. I handle the money here. Also take care of handling stock, checking stock that comes in, things of that nature, taking payments from vendors. It gives me a sense of accomplishment, something to look forward to doing.
My responsibilities here, show up in the morning, of course, about 15 minutes prior to opening to make sure that I get changed up, everything is out, set up and ready to go at 8 o'clock. So when he unlocks that door and the first customer walks through the door, we don't have to worry about pulling this out, pulling that out. 30 minutes to get ready. When the store opens at 8 o'clock, we're ready to go at 8 o'clock.
As I talk to employers and we talk about what they're looking for in employees in terms of work ethic, I find that they want them to try very hard to do the right thing. They want them to not necessarily look for what's in this for me and shaving this hour and how can I get off on this employer, but to give just a little bit more than I normally would to be a good employee.
And that brings us to another point about work ethic. One of the most important qualities an employee can have is to be self-motivated, to want to learn more, and to try to be more useful on the job.
Probably the thing that we look for, it's hard to find, and you really can't pay for it. To find people that are willing to really try to learn and to better themselves, which of course increases their value to the company at the same time. But it's a difficult thing to find people that are self-motivated. As a small business, we don't have an extensive training program for new people. They pretty much have to be willing to ask questions, to go out of their way to try to learn new skills. And the ones that do end up becoming our printers and our more skilled finishers and that type of thing.
When they hired me here, I wanted to learn everything I could learn, because that's what they told me. They said, learn everything you can learn and we can bump you up, meaning we'll give you raises and we'll move your position up and everything like that. That's how I learned, is when I was inquisitive.
She stood out with her work ethics, being on time. If she was here early, she would start. She wouldn't sit around and wait, for the time clock, punch in and then go to work. So she did a lot on her own. 5 o'clock is usually our terminating time for the workforce for the day. She spent time staying afterwards, making sure the areas were cleaned up and everything before she left. So she showed, a lot of promise and a lot of willingness, to be part of Mile Marker.
When I first came in, I came in non-experienced, then never done this work before. Then I had people train me and show me different things. I learned, and I was willing to do more. I want to stay on the same level. I like to move up And that's what's been happening for me. I've been blessed to be able to learn new things and move up.
She's reliable. She is very intelligent. She is committed. I've had her on different types of jobs, and she's never once told me, no, I can't do it. If she doesn't understand it, then she's the type of person who does her own research to find out what she has to do.
Another important issue is not only making your boss happy, but also getting along with your coworkers.
Show courtesy, don't have no attitude in the workplace, even though you may not agree with somebody. Principles in your workplace, you still treat them as a person, you know, y'all still work together, you know, to keep the office running. You know.
People lose more of their jobs because of what we call the water cooler antics, where they're not getting along with somebody else, not getting along with their boss, because they just didn't keep their mouth shut. That is the biggest way people lose jobs. If an employer likes you and you respect him and you get along with him, he will put up with a lot more behavior than he's going to put up if he doesn't like you.
We have a variety of staff, from age to race to level of education, level of social skills, and they all interact, and the job can be quite stressful from time to time. So when he comes in, I think he has, you know, because of his background, I think that helps him to be able to read people, and he can sometimes discern whether or not someone is having problems. And I think he's been able to help some of them by talking to them, because I think he can have some empathy in that area and help them through it.
And you have your days. You know, you might have a person come in feeling real good, you know, and then you have a person feeling low, you know, something like that. I'm the person, if I'm feeling good and I see somebody feeling low, I'm going to try and help that person come up and feel good also. You know, and that's, if somebody see me feeling down, I like for them to try and encourage me to keep my head up also.
So if your work ethic leads you to act like a professional, be self-motivated, and get along with the people you work with, a promotion will happen. Not because they owe you something, but because it's in their best interest to move good people into more important jobs. It's just that simple.
We have celebrated his 1-year working anniversary here, and we've given him additional responsibilities besides just being the part-time inserter. He does get pay compensation for those additional responsibilities. I'm very fortunate that I have him as an employee. I wish I had another dozen on the staff and I wouldn't have to worry so much.
Anybody that starts in the shop can go up to service manager, store manager, district manager. A lot of the upper level vice presidents we got with this company started as tire changers. So it's just a matter of getting the right opportunities and doing the job, and you'll work your way up the ladder.
He has some good characteristics, basically punctuality. He does seem to be wanting to learn. I would say the characteristics of wanting to pick up more and be able to find more to do. And I would honestly say that is one of the characteristics we are looking for an employee. More eagerness to learn, the more to pick up, and again, the more you learn on a job, the faster you move on.
I hope this has given you a sense of some work ethic basics. Now, even though this program is about taking your first step, let's look down the road a little and talk about what it might be like to run your own business and be your own boss.
To be self-employed and have my own business and be very successful is in fact the American dream. And those that have achieved that didn't start there, didn't get up one morning and say, now I own the company. And so maybe we have to start working. There are a lot of programs involved throughout the country where you can actually get into a business and eventually branch out on your own, and will help you achieve that. But at least if I'm going to own my own business, I need to know what it is that the business is all about.
Getting a sense of what business is all about is a very good idea. Johnny Morris has some experience working with dogs and wants to someday have his own kennels. So he's been looking into the practical aspects of what that would take.
Yeah, I've sat and thought about it, and I realize there's a lot of things that have to go through as far as building permit, have to do things within the city ordinance, have to have a certain amount of animals here, and how I'm going to contain them, the sanitary equipment that I'm going to need to keep the area from getting out of hand. I sat down and thought about that a lot, and I realized it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of money, and a lot of skills in order to do so.
Felicia Smith also wants to own her own business someday, and she's even thought about what qualities she's going to look for in her employees when they come to interview with her.
They have to be very well-mannered. They would have to have respect for the job as well as themselves. They have to show me that they have good hygiene, you know, the hair done, the clothes nice, just a good appearance, good attitude, and show me that they were really interested in the job that I was offering.
In fact, what Felicia is doing, to imagine herself hiring someone, is an excellent way to get a sense of how you might want to come across in a job interview. So one of your first classroom exercises is to practice not only being interviewed, but also to be on the other side of the table, to look for in other people the qualities you would like to develop for yourself. To sum up, the thing that makes you a good employee is your work ethic. Your work ethic is your personal belief about how you behave in the workplace. So I suggest you look into developing your own work ethic now before you're released. See you next time.